it's unfortunate to see what Sony is doing at the moment, but I mean, I feel like to some extent we should have seen this coming anyways. But just to provide some perspective on this, as a PlayStation player, Sony has, or rather PlayStation, has put through a DMCA takedown against Bloodborne 60 FPS mod, which has now been taken down. And despite it being taken down, people are still re-uploading this mod even now at this point. And also worth mentioning that the mod did actually allow the game to run significantly better on consoles, but that being called a 60 FPS mod should pretty much have just given the game away anyways. So yeah, again, just interesting things all around, all things considered. Again, it's just unfortunate to see what's happening with all of this, because Sony shouldn't have needed to do this. But I feel like a lot of people are just going to say, well, technically Sony owns the copyright and a bunch of other things, so they should be able to do whatever the hell they want. But this kind of definitely falls also under what Nintendo does, where just because it's right for Nintendo to do something doesn't mean that they shouldn't do it. All things considered, like shutting down emulation as a whole from their perspective, and just a bunch of other things to that extent. I just wish that Sony was just a bit more cool about this, but again, it's really just a case of, hey, it is what it is. Now, with that being said, however, it's worth mentioning that Lance McDonald, the guy who actually made the 60 FPS Bloodborne patch, did actually recreate the PT demo to show us what the outside of that hallway actually looked like, which is really cool to actually be able to talk about. And again, we wouldn't be able to talk about it had it not been for Monsieur Lance McDonald. So he has done some really cool stuff for the gaming industry and space as a whole through his modding. So I feel like that, you know, he's done a lot of positive things. And worth mentioning that he actually did originally release this patch back in, I think it was 2021. No, sorry, 2020 actually. And this is his YouTube channel, Lance McDonald. But also the fact that Digital Foundry did end up actually doing a video about this, and it actually works incredibly well as a result as well. But of course, like I said, you need to have a modded PS4 to make that work. And the most unfortunate thing about this is that a modded PS4 is definitely against Sony's terms of use, all things considered. But again, it's not the worst thing that you could probably be doing with a Sony platform device. Now, that being said, the idea of playing Bloodborne at 60 FPS is very much alive and well to this day, because thanks to Shad PS4, the game is actually available to play on PC via PS4 emulation, and it runs inexplicably well, as some could probably imagine. So it's at least cool to see that while this mod doesn't exist technically under Lance's content, that's not to say that other people aren't going to be re-uploading that content, or the fact that, you know, the game is still very much playable through Shad PS4, which I feel like Sony is more than happy to kind of go after at the moment. So fingers crossed, hopefully, you know, they don't do it. But, you know, it's really very much up in the air as to why that is. And even then, Shad PS4 by itself had a bit of a rickety start when it came to the Bloodborne remaster. Not Bloodborne remaster. Playing Bloodborne on PC through their emulation. Because worth keeping in mind that, like, originally the game wouldn't even boot up at all. And then when it did finally be able to boot up, you know, everything would be completely red and be very difficult to kind of be able to tell apart, oh, you know, what's going on, you know, what are you looking at exactly, and just things along those lines. And now it actually loads up into the game and you can actually play through the game completely. And that's really cool to see and to think about. So all things considered, like, it's just absolutely brilliant. I'm very happy to see that the game is now playable on PC. Even if Sony doesn't want it to be the case, the players made it the case. And like I said, I could not be happier to see that being the case, because this is one of those cases where gaming, especially in the PC space, is damn cool, because people are quite literally going out of their way to be like, look, if we're not going to get it through official means, we're just going to have to go out of our way to get it ourselves. So, like I said, very happy to kind of just see what's going on in that space. But yeah, Digital Foundry's Thomas Morgan, playthrough, here we go. So shared PS4, original version is 0.5.1. I suppose another thing worth keeping in mind is that people are kind of being a little bit positive about the fact that, regarding, the sort of takedown, that, oh, maybe Sony is actually making something at the moment. But I find that to be highly unlikely, because I genuinely don't believe that Sony is actually working on something regarding how to, make this whole thing, how to run, Bloodborne at like a better frame rate with better visuals and things like that. Because even though the fact that Bluepoint are no longer working on that game anymore, whatever game it was, that God of War live service, it still doesn't change the fact that it's probably still ill-advised for them to even try and do anything more beyond that. So I do actually kind of wonder, is it possible that it could be the case that now they've got someone working on a Bloodborne remaster similar to how we got a Demon Souls remaster? But then why prioritize a Demon Souls remaster over a Bloodborne remaster? Again, it's just layers upon layers of just question marks upon question marks. But I feel like only the future can really tell as to what's going on. Will shared PS4 also get the boot from Sony and, probably get removed? Who knows? We won't know, like I said, until the future comes. But with all that being said, however, let me know what you guys think about all of this in the comments below. Like the video if you liked it, subscribe to the channel. I'm aiming for 400 subs by the end of the year. Sorry, 500 subs by the end of the year. And with all that being said, I do upload every day, so I'll see you guys tomorrow.